Hello, in this video we're going to take a look at a trainer who hit Legend in Master League using a pretty spicy Pokemon combined with a very trusted core that most Master League players know. The player we're taking a look at today is GCB, and this is the team on the right that he's using for Master League. Landers and Palkia, a very obvious core, but the lead is an interesting one, Tapu Fini. I know nothing about this Pokemon in Master League, so I'm gonna be just as surprised as you will be by these battles. Game number 1, Tapu Fini into Origin Dialga. I would think that Origin Dialga wins this. One thing that you keep in mind here, there's only very few Origin Dialga that run Thunder over Roar of Time, so Tapu Fini probably doesn't have to fear that here. Go for Nature's Madness, that does nothing. Tapu Fini only gets to about 3200 CP, so it doesn't really hang well with those high CP Pokemon, but the Iron Knight doesn't do that much. In comes Necrozma, and GCB doesn't really have a great answer here. That is an interesting safe switch, because man, if there's a Dark type in the back, that Necrozma is just dead. Especially the Dawn Wings form. Let's see. I think you kind of want to shield anything here. Let's see. No, he's calling it. And it calls the Dark Pulse. A Moongaze Beam would have knocked out a million Palkia. Let's see. The opponent gets to another one. Do you want to keep switch here? No. That makes sense. Landers in the back is also quite good into Dialga. So this is a good opportunity for GCB to farm up some energy here. Going for Charge Attack Priority. Landers wins a lot of those. And then it should have a little bit of energy as well for that Dialga that really doesn't have a lot of places to go right now. It actually does come back in. It makes me wonder what's in the back, because you'd think that a Dialga lead usually covers Landers quite well in the back with like a Kyogre or something. Let's see. Shields the Sandseer Storm. This is... and the opponent top lefts. That may have been another steal or something in the back. Game number 2. Tapu Fini into Landers. This is probably exactly why you have this Pokemon, and the opponent is staying in. The reason why is probably because they have Palkia on the back. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think Palkia is that bad into Tapu Fini just based on stats. I might be wrong, but let's see. Going for the first Sandseer Storm immediately to debuff, very smart. It's possible Tapu Fini might lose some even shield scenarios here just based on those stats. As you can see, that doesn't knock it out just yet. A Stone Edge would knock out from this range, so it's possible Tapu Fini just loses zeros here. This is only the Sandseer Storm, so GCB no shields that. In comes the Palkia. Can you get to the Nature's Madness? And he barely does. Just at 1 HP here, and that's very fortunate. He doesn't really have a great answer into Palkia besides his own, and I think that Palkia might barely be able to get to the Spacial Rent, so if you want to live this, yeah, you gotta shield that. We've seen Landorus, Palkia, these are very obvious meta Pokemon. What do we expect in the back? Maybe in the Necrozma? Let's see, it is in the back, Zygarde. Man, Zygarde has been becoming so incredibly common in Master League. Obviously, it's been around for a while. It's possible to get one of those around now and get all the Zygarde cells for it, but I'm still kind of surprised. It's not like an easy grind or anything. Opponent goes for the crunch. Zygarde has no attack. It has no attack set. It only has defense, nothing else. The annoying thing for GCB here is that he also lost a turn, I think, and the opponent snuck a Dragon Tail because he did time well. That this Zygarde can still clear that debuff. I'm actually surprised they throw the attack there and not clear the debuff first. So he's no shielding that, just in case the opponent might clear the debuff later. I think you still need 2 Sandseer Storm at least after this. Yeah, because the opponent still has a shield. The opposing Landers doesn't have a lot of fast attack pressure though, and tries to make the catch, fails. I think that's game, right? Let's see, going for another Sandseer Storm. I think the Zygarde is almost at 2 crunch here. That crunch won't even knock out, because Zygarde has like no attack stats. The thing is, if you swap out now as the opponent, GSP might be able to far down and get 2 attacks, and then win Charge Attack Priority. So let's see. Goes for 2 attacks here. I believe we saw a debuff, and this crunch should probably knock out. Very, let's see, yeah, that does knock out. Very tough battle there. Zygarde is quite decent into this team, I would say. You just always have to keep in mind, even though Tapu Fini has such a good typing, it's always going to have very little stats. Game number 3, we have Tapu Fini into, again, Landers, a great lead for GCB. Now, if the opponent has dragons in the back again, and usually it is with Landers, they stay in again. They have no idea what to do. I would consider this as a good lead for Tapu Fini. But Tapu Fini just has, again, I could say it a million times, that's pretty low stats. The other Water Fairy type Pokemon that's usable and viable is Primarina, but that also doesn't do great into Landorus because it has Charm as the fast attack, and Landorus can deal with that because it's neutral. Tapu Fini does have Water type pressure, however, Water Gun is just not that great of a fast attack. In comes Origin Dialga, answered by Landorus immediately, and let me tell you why Origin Dialga is a little bit better than regular Dialga here. Regular Dialga has a little bit higher attack than Origin, but this bulk is important because with that slight energy advantage, Landorus will not be able to farm down, while against regular Dialga, it may be able to. It has a little bit less bulk, right? As you can see here, GSP is likely, yeah, he has to throw right before the next Iron Head. It's exactly why I'm jealous of those Origin Dialga. I have a Hundo myself, but not with the attack. I already expected to come back by now. And again, it's Zygarde in the back, so just like the previous battle, but this time it's Origin Dialga instead of Palkia. Zygarde is so common nowadays, man. We should assemble a Togekiss army, honestly. Sandsear Storm, again, make sure this Pokemon does even less damage than it already was doing. Going into Origin Palkia, doesn't want to get the full farm down on the Landorus. The opponent throws their attack. Interesting. Afraid of the Outrage, he shields this, but it's only a crunch. There's a lot of Zygarde with Outrage out there, so that should somewhat make sense. It was double debuff though, so let's see. Aqua Tail, and then... I think you have to farm down and go for Space Rent, but also the Zygarde might be just low enough that an Aqua Tail might be enough. But also, I believe there's still like 2 Dragon Tail on the Zygarde, so if you're Drown Energy here, and it looks like Palkia is Drown Energy now, then a crunch might be... It might reach the crunch, let's see. It's gonna get tricky. You might need a catch here, but the timer's not up yet. The timer is now up, but... Oh, just barely not in time, and not able to get to the Aqua Tail. He used to win. Is there energy on the Tapu Fini? I think you get to serve, right? Oh, but wait! Look, this Pokemon does no damage! Like, it would probably have gotten Dragon Breath down by Dialga, but not by Zygarde. It does have Dragon Breath. It's Dragon Tail, and it has no attack. So, wow, Tapu Fini coming in clutch there. Gain number 4, GCB leads Tapu Fini into Origin Palkia. This is great, but I think it's manageable when shields are up for Palkia. However, they swap into Hisuian Avalugg, and this, however, I do think is a pretty bad matchup for Hisuian Avalugg, because now Water Gun and Surf will add up, while as against Origin Palkia, the Water Gun's actually double resisted, and that's why I think Palkia can hang on when shields are up there. Let's see, going for the Surf. Hisuian Avalugg is really bulky, so it can actually take that quite well. And this is pretty smart, because GCB keeps that Tapu Fini alive to take the energy from Palkia later, and farms down with his own Palkia to come out with the Spatial Rent. So the opposing Palkia is going to have a problem now. In fact, if he baits here, I think he can get to a Spatial Rent still. It's possible the opponent might notice if they don't value Palkia, but it looks like they do. Can you get to the Spatial Rent? No, he goes down with it! Oh, well, that sucks. Now, Tapu Fini can take the energy, though, from this Palkia. Only a Hydro will really knock out. But, like I said, double resisted Water Gun versus double resisted Dragon Breath. You probably, at this point, will lose it against Palkia with that high stat distribution. Taking the first Aqua Tail. If you want to get this attack off, you gotta shield this. Yeah, I did expect GCP to do that. Let's see what's in the back. It's gotta be Landorus, right? Hisuian Avalugg or Landorus to bait out the Kyogre. Let's see. Shield stat makes sense. It's gonna get very interesting, because if it is the Landorus in the back, I think GCB is in trouble here, because he's getting in Stone Edge range now. In the back is Ho-Oh! Oh boy, this is gonna do a lot of damage. This is gonna do a lot. I think this will take it out in one attack. Yeah, goodbye, Ho-Oh! Why didn't they say switch? Yeah, I guess Ho-Oh has a terrible matchup into Tapu Fini as well. The opponent did not like Tapu Fini, let's put it that way. Imagine you're in your legend push and you get destroyed by Tapu Fini. Anyway, that won't be the case for this opponent, I think, because this is a pretty neutral matchup. Again, Origin Dialga doesn't run Thunder. Most of them, I did face a couple with Thunder. This is an Iron Head for sure, because they didn't even build up to a Thunder. They actually threw immediately, because you pace equally fast to Nature's Madness as you pace to Iron Head. So, let's see. The Dialga is dry now, though. You will lose Charge Security. In comes Necrozma, and GCB does have the Landorus ready. But I think you lose 0 shields here. Probably not the ones with how quick he swapped, because I believe it's 9 and then 8 Shadow Claws for the Sunsteel Strike. The Sunsteel Strike is going to do so much damage, though, so you gotta respect it. Let's see. There are some of these Necrozma running Iron Head and Outrage, which is a wild moveset in my opinion, and the opponent actually baits. This forces GCB to throw another Sandsear Storm. But now I also think that the Sunsteel Strike will not knock out. Looks like the opponent lets that go. In comes Zygarde. Good lord, what a team. But Zygarde's gonna have a problem with this Landorus. Landorus is the ideal party pooper. I actually think it's a very annoying Pokemon just to deal with in general. Simply because the Sandsear Storm just comes out so quickly and it's so good into many matchups. But fighting Pokemon like Necrozma and Zygarde, yo, please carry on your hero's work. Going to the Tapu Fini to draw back out that Dialga. Since you're up in energy now, you can actually outpace this Dialga. Interesting play from GCB. But if they shield this, can you get the farm down? They do shield that. I think you can get to a Surf, but not to the Nature's Madness. Let's see. This is going to get very tight. But the opponent is going to let them knock him out, or they lagged out. Either way. I would think that they tried to... oh, I think they did lag out. Let's see. Oh, no, look at that. I think they tried to give GCB less farm. Now going for the Iron Head. Maybe they are expecting something specific in the back here and didn't want to give that Pokemon farm. But the problem now is your Pokemon gets debuffed, your Zygarde, and you can't do anything with that to clear the debuff now anymore. Sandstorm obviously doesn't do a lot, but Palkia is going to clean up this Zygarde. This is a matchup Zygarde rarely wins, but with the debuff, it's not going to do it. So, good game, well played. Interesting play from the opponent. I think it looked to me that they tried to give less farm to GCB because they did like stop tapping after that serve from GCB. Next battle, we have Tapu Fini into Kyogre. I think this is a terrible matchup. I think so. Kyogre is a Pokemon that just forces through matchups. Going for the Nature's Madness, immediately you want to throw this attack as soon as you can to lower the defense and do more damage. As you can see, it does a good chunk. You lose the zeros incredibly hard if this is a Thunder, honestly. So, and actually lets that go, calls the bait. Well, that helps. A Surf doesn't do that much damage. Can you get to another Nature's Madness? Not before the next attack. And I think this is another Surf. So now, Tapu Fini likely will win the Zero Shield scenario. It looks like it does. Look, if you're playing Master League, there's always dragons in the back. So, opponents will likely just always stays into this matchup. They might even get a nasty Farna with that. In the back, it's an Avalugg. Not exactly what I anticipated with Tapu Fini lead. Going into Palkia, this is an okay matchup for both Pokemon, especially because if you debuff this Palkia a lot, it won't threaten as much anymore. But in the back is a Togekiss. This is an interesting team. Kyogre Togekiss core is very solid, but Togekiss lacks stats mostly. Going for the bait. You need a bait to win the 2-shield here. And the opponent does shield it. That's important because otherwise you don't get to multiple attacks here. You can get to 2 Stone Edge, but if you don't debuff the opponent, you don't get to 3 attacks here. So, but the opponent boost! This is horrible. I think this bait is not exactly necessary, but it's likely they shield now anyway, because they boosted. And gets there, yeah. I think otherwise it was too much off, but regardless, this works. Stone Edge lands, it doesn't do. So normally the 2 shields that should knock out. Now it didn't. In comes Avalugg again, which is interesting. I think you want to get more charms in. Let's see, go for the Aqua too. I think you can only win this as GCB if you can get the farm down now to knock out that Togekiss. You have 1 shield here, so this is interesting. I think if the opponent stayed in, they may have actually had a way better shot now to get to an attack with the Togekiss. And then with the Avalugg maybe? But they just let that go. Interesting. Maybe the Aqua would have knocked out regardless. I don't know. Aqua coming through knocks out Togekiss. I think they would have, because you can't Dragon Breath down the Togekiss. So GCB would have had to expend his energy there. I think the opponent may have misplayed that a little bit. In the next game, GCB faces another Kyogre lead. Let's see how this one is going to play out. A Kyogre lead is always good if you have Landers in the back, because it's usually Dragon types. The worst that could be is Palkia, and Palkia is much more playable for Landers than a Kyogre is, even though it's not the best. Nature's Madness lands. In comes Primarina. This has to be Double Charm. You see this? This is Double Charm, which is a problem. Like, Double Charm is legit a problem here, because your Tapu Fini lacks stats to deal with most of the Charmers here. I would think you're pretty bulky, though, at least, so you might be able to get to some serves into the Togekiss that is probably in the back. These aren't voice shielded. I think at this point, GCB at one point wants to get the Palkia on the Kyogre, because that's an incredibly good matchup. But also, you kind of want to, let's see, can you get to a Stone Edge? It goes for a Stone Edge. This might actually almost knock out. I think barely not. But this Kyogre definitely will not be a threat anymore. Yeah, it doesn't knock out barely. It's going to be a 2-shield Togekiss play. And I think that he can barely hang on to a Togekiss, because you will be able to get to multiple charge stacks. Going for that Aqua Tail there. The game freezes a little bit. Charm sneaks through. Classic. Let's see. No shields that. Dude, can you do this? This is the real strength of Tapu Fini. Let's test Tapu Fini here. Can you hang on into another non-mega legendary Pokemon here? Going for Nature's Madness. This is more expensive, but will drop the defense of Togekiss. And I think at this point, GCB is looking at trying to fast stack this down. Water Guns are adding up. So are the Charms. He gets to another attack here. You pull the second shield with this likely. And I don't think that Togekiss can get to a threatening attack on that Palkia. Let's see. Clears the debuff right away. Going for the Ancient Power. If this is our sphere, actually, the Togekiss might have it. It's an Ancient Power, though. That doesn't do enough. Can you get to the attack? Oh, it doesn't get to attack, but gets the Dragon Breath down. That is so close. And that just shows Tapu Fini lacking stats, but has bulk. So it did something there. It was valuable, actually. In the next battle, Tapu Fini into Shiny Xerneas. This is also an interesting battle. I think Xerneas really relies on its typing, because Geomancy is a worse Snarl, and that makes it a pretty mediocre fast attack. But you have Moonblast, which is very strong. I don't think that would deal enough damage to knock out Tapu Fini, though. I would actually think Tapu Fini has a pretty okay matchup here, as long as shields are up. Going for the first Nature's Madness, and then in comes, okay, the Tapu Fini answer. But this is a great opportunity to pull a shield and then go on Palkia, probably. However, Palkia will get outpaced to a Sandsear Storm plus a Stone Edge, I think. And those two together might almost knock out. You can't really use shields, but Landorus isn't that bad into... Let's see, no, it doesn't get to the Aqua Tail just barely before the Stone Edge. Landorus isn't bad into Xerneas either, so I don't think this is that bad at all for GCB. Oh, this might even be better. If you get knocked out here, then get like 2 Mudshots advantage. I think this barely does knock out. Oh, it's a Sandsear Storm. Oh, smart by the opponent. The opponent wants to get an entire farm down with this Xerneas and come with a lot of energy. This is now double debuff the Aqua Tail, so it's not even remotely threatening. Let's see. But what could you expect in the back? I mean, we've not seen a dragon yet. It has to be a dragon. Wait, you almost get Dragon Breath down here. Wow. Still putting in a lot of work there. As I said, Geomancy doesn't do a lot of damage. It's just like a little bit worse than Snarl. Going into Tapu Fini to take the energy, that makes sense. Tapu Fini is just... as much as I like it here, it's probably your least valuable Pokemon. Takes the Moonblast quite well. Wait, there's a Shadow Hole in the back, though! Tapu Fini actually was great there. But nonetheless, Landorus will get 2 Stone Edge here. This should be a very winnable game for GCB. I think actually the win condition for the opponent may have been to no-shield a Sandsear Storm, but they realize now, and they top left. In the final battle to hit Legends, he leads Tapu Fini into Origin Palkia. A pretty good lead. In comes Zacian, and answered by Landorus immediately. This is why Zacian has fallen off. Before Landorus had Sandsear Storm, this was actually an okay matchup for Zacian. I believe with Quick Attack it would win the 1 shields. Now it's not so good anymore. Just because you keep getting debuffed. This matchup is actually garbage now for Zacian. Let's see. You can get to a Stone Edge here and knock it out. Looks like GCB is counting on the opponent to no shield. Let's see if they shield this. They do shield, actually. They want to pull shield. Interesting play. Because I think with shields down, Palkia does worse into Tapu Fini. I would also expect their own... oh, dude, the opponent... I actually think this doesn't knock out yet, but still. It will do a good amount of damage. Right, because it's already debuffed. Wow, that's annoying. And in comes Landorus. They caught a Sandsear Storm on Landorus. That's pretty brutal. Still has the other Pokemon as well. Zacian still, which can put in work into that Tapu Fini. Might be able to get to a Wild Charge as well. So this is far from over. This debuff though, so 2 attacks won't knock out just yet. How do you play this as GCB? Going to throw before the next Sandsear Storm? Might barely knock out. Does knock out. In comes opposing Palkia. I'm actually... Yeah, I don't know. Because now the opponent has to shield this, and it makes you prone to a Nature's Madness. Unless you have... They let that go. Okay. Okay, interesting play. They let that go. They probably had to call that. Now in comes a Sandsear Storm. And I think at this point, the Zacian needs 3 Wild Charge. There's no way... I think actually they shielded that. They had a good shot there. Yeah, going into Tapu Fini to force this Wild Charge immediately. Wild Charge will debuff that Zacian a lot. And wow, that does nothing. Even for 1 debuff... That's wow, impressive actually. Tapu Fini plays that very well, a very good damage response, and that was the final battle to hit Legend. GCB hit Legend with Tapu Fini in Master League. There we go, claiming it. Pretty good elo there. Well done. Thank you GCB that I could showcase these battles. Maybe I should work on my Tapu Fini for Master League as well. I hope you like the battles, and I'll see you in the next one.